Hello everyone, I'm delighted to be here to address you today. World Athletics had a year of stunning performances across all our events. A year when we staged and celebrated sport in an unusual way, mostly without spectators, and in a year in which we maintained our place as the #1 sport at the Olympic Games. I think we can all agree that Tokyo made an unprecedented contribution to the future of international sport by staging the Games under such difficult circumstances, and we should be very grateful for the enormous efforts and commitment of the Japanese Organising Committee, the Japanese government, and of course the people of Japan. The entire sports world owes Japan a debt of gratitude for being brave enough to complete the most challenging journey from March of 2020 to July of 2021 to keep the Olympic Games and the Olympic sport in the spotlight as the most dramatic moment in sport since the Second World War. Sport took a back seat for a while last year in the early stage of the pandemic. But our priority and our mission was always to bring back competition in a safe way, to allow athletes to continue doing what they do best, to train, and to compete and excite the imagination of fans around the world. As a member of the Coordination Commission of the Tokyo Olympics, I had the chance to be inside this journey and to witness the commitment and the dedication of the Tokyo Organising Committee to deliver what they promised to the sporting world in a constantly changing environment. Tokyo Games was a huge success in terms of efficient organisation, exceptional performances, and the excitement of the TV experience. Yes, we missed the fans and the atmosphere in the stands, but what we received in return may prove to be much more important in the long run. No, this is not the end of live sport with a big crowd in attendance. On the contrary, it's probably the beginning of a new era in how we see and we deliver sports events, in how we engage with our fans, and in how we transform athletics, speaking for my sport, into something even more exciting and even more engaging. Having no fans in stadiums has made us look more closely at how we invest in and engage fans at home. From closer working relationships with broadcasters on sport presentation to new ways of engaging on social media and innovative ways to engage via a second screen. This has been really important, as the biggest sport audience is not those in the stadium but those watching from home. We need to all continue to build on what we have learnt, developed and trailed in 2021. In this COVID period, we've had to make very painful decisions to postpone events, but we knew the sooner we faced the reality, the better prepared we would be. And we started on new plans. We didn't waste a single day. We tried to use the pandemic as the big opportunity to move faster on ideas and innovations we wouldn't have been able to achieve under more normal circumstances. And speaking on behalf of athletics, I feel proud of the work we did, not just to keep sport alive and stage competitions in the most challenging moments with travel restrictions, medical protocols, heat and barriers that we never imagined, but also for coming up with a new strategy for growth and for a new world plan for athletics that will run until the end of this decade. The postponement of many of our events in 2020 and 2021 has actually created new opportunities. For the next 4 years, we now have a packed calendar with major athletics championships anchoring each summer. Starting in 2022 with the World Athletics Championships in Oregon, followed by the World Championships in Budapest in 2023, Paris, the 2024 Olympic Games, and then the 2025 World Championships. This is a unique opportunity for us as a sport to grow and move to the next level of popularity and involvement, to become campaign leaders using the power and accessibility of our sport and of course our athletes. We're becoming a campaigning organisation and sport with our vision to create a healthier and fitter world and make it relevant in people's lives and in the lives of their communities. We want to create globally appealing and accessible competition, events and activities so our talented athletes can entertain and inspire the world. And also to be the best example of a well-governed sports federation taking brave leadership decisions and valuing partnerships. The pandemic gave us a chance to remind the world that athletics is truly global and is the sport participated in by more people than any other. We're coming out of this COVID storm clearly as the most active sport, as the #1 choice for billions of people to stay physically and mentally active. This is the right moment to harness the power of our sport to bring positive change. We all agreed at Council and Congress level that athletics should not be only about elite performances and world-class events. Athletics is a sport that should play an important role in bringing social good. We are designing an influential campaigning program to connect global organizations, governments, communities, and partners to causes that people really care about. We're committed to deliver 2 global campaigns in the next 4 years. Every Breath We Take will be the first global campaign to work with city authorities, our athletes and recreational runners all over the world to improve our air quality as a way to deliver healthier neighborhoods. Every Child Has the Right will be the second global campaign to change the United Nations Human Rights Charter to include sport for all children as a fundamental right. Transforming world athletics to a sustainable organisation is also part of our strategy. Planning and delivering sustainable sporting events is a key priority. For host cities, this is increasingly important. It is not just what happens to a city or community during an event, but what is left behind that helps communities choose healthier lifestyles and create partnerships that drive that change over years to come. How does a World Athletics Championship inspire local communities to pursue more active lifestyles? How can a 3-day World Athletics Road Running Championship leave the host community cleaner and healthier than it was before? How can hosting one of our events help the city align itself with the 11th UN Sustainable Development Goal, which is to make cities and human environments more inclusive, safer, resilient, and sustainable? The best examples of event organisation and operation can bring renewed investment, and in many cases, much needed investment in public transportation, or even a reimagining of how best to use public space around stadia and other venues. They can improve social integration by actively engaging all segments of a community, especially the most marginalised. They can stimulate the local economy by focusing their procurement efforts on local food producers and service providers. To make that happen, sport has to use the power and influence it has to challenge prospective host communities to live up to the principles spelled out in its Sustainable Development Goals. That can be done by embedding tangible sustainability requirements into the bidding process for their events, which we do, and into the certification process for the events they sanction, which we are working on. In our case, by 2030, we'll be requiring organising committees of all our World Championship events to establish low emission zones around stadiums and arenas. We'll also be requiring all the events we sanction to commit to climate neutrality targets by 2030. That's not a journey that can be completed overnight, but we think it's achievable over the course of a decade. Indeed, it must be, and it's one we're already on. The last point I would like to make is a very interesting finding from the post-pandemic research. In a period where we saw digital sports and games grow, where physical attendance and participation has been curtailed, we had to move faster and adapt better in the new digital world across everything we do, from the way we run our events to how we run the sport of athletics. Following the growth of the Wanda Diamond League and the geographic challenges brought on by COVID, we've invested more heavily in our one-day meeting circuits, particularly the Continental Tour. These events enable athletes to stay local for their competitions. It also allows fans to stay local and support their athletes, but the new digital age gives access to these events from anywhere around the world. If you love athletics, you should be able to attend events in your country, support your athletes, and also follow athletics anywhere around the world from your sitting room. All sport is developing this side of their offer and bringing new, innovative experiences to their fans. This is a great time to be in sport.